I'm Mixer Giant, and in this video I'm going to be saying I can do the ultimate horror crossover and animation for Halloween in iPhones and media. How they can do the Hellver Boss and Has-Been Hotel crossover is Blitz being good friends with Charlie's barber, and it turning out that the Hellver Boss as crew who are the ones who killed Angel Dust back when he was Anthony. But them managing to work it out with each other, and Vox hiring them to kill some of the angels, but then them and working for Charlie instead, and for them improving that the hotel does work by proving demons like them are worthy of redemption because of them and not killing the angels. And them helping Charlie and the Has-Been Hotel gang protect the hotel from the angels, and even saving the angels' lives from the V's. Charlie and Blitz would help each other out with their relationships. Blitz would show Charlie she has a good thing going with Baggy, and that Baggy loves her. And it's just good that Charlie was able to put in the work for the relationship. And that Baggy is really lucky to have someone like Charlie, and it is good that Charlie having a good person like Baggy around. Charlie also showing Blitz that Blitz is a good father figure to his gang, and in him also being a good person, because why else has he be doing this for his other partners in assassinations? She'd also get him to see the reality of his relationship, but then she would also convince him that his relationship is worth saving. You would also show the differences between the Has-Been Hotel gang and the Hellver Boss gang, with the Hellver Boss gang killing people, and them being glad, them being terrible people, and them also being loved in hell. But Charlie and her gang, they are kind of hated in hell, but them being good people, and it is good them trying to prove them being good people in hell. And also the Hellver Boss gang, and helping the Has-Been Hotel to be liked by the people in hell. And it also being good that in the end the Has-Been Hotel being liked by each other more than the people in hell, who would end up liking them in the end with heaven. Angel Dust would be angry at Blitz and Moxie because they're the ones who killed him, but Blitz and Moxie would show why them needing to kill him, and them also being sympathetic to Angel Dust as about him wanting to see his sister in heaven again. Because of them being well liked in hell, and because of their jobs being killing people, was why Vox would hire them, and them also interacting with Alistair and Baggy. With them pointing out how creepy Alistair is and that them actually being scared of Alistair. With Luna proving that she's not scared of Alistair, and Alistair actually being glad at him seeing Luna, and them all getting drunk from Husk. And Molly convincing Baggy that she does have a good place in the hotel. It's good Charlie doing it. It's good her having a good person like Charlie, and it is good that Charlie and her having such a good relationship in general. And Baggy would convince Molly that it is good them being able to protect the kid and give her a good life by being assassins, and that she should be there in her kid's life, and that she should tell Moxie about it, the kid being someone else's. Serpentis would deal with people going against him because of him originally being from hell, but then Emily would try to help him in the end. Then they would find out that he did redeem himself in the end. Then Charlie would find out that he managed to make it into heaven. Then Sarah getting in trouble for the exterminations going on for a long time, and without anyone knowing about it. They would judge Serpentis and do a trial with him, but they would find out it's good him being in heaven. They would offer him a chance to go back to hell, but then he would decide to stay in heaven and to prove that the hotel does work. Luke would go against heaven to go against hell, but then her failing in the end, and her getting in trouble with heaven because of it. Because of her bringing the war between heaven and hell closer, and her even ending up dead because of hell. Us seeing Adam's son Abel, but then we'd also see Adam's other son Cain in hell. Abel would be against Charlie at first, but then him starting to like Charlie, and Charlie proving being a good person to Abel. While Cain would go against Abel, and Charlie would find out Cain is right to hate Abel, but then Charlie would fix things up between Cain and Abel, with both brothers being glad of where they are. With Abel meeting up with Adam and Luke reincarnated as demons, and still making it known him hating Abel, and And because of Abel saying up to his barber Adam, is why Adam managing to like him in the end. Then, for the new character, the sea monster, he would actually be willing to go to the hotel to redeem himself because he knew Serpentins, and him taking Serpentins' place at the hotel. But he'd also be working for the V's for him doing the original version of Serpentins, and him having a different relationship with Charlie than everyone else at the hotel. Is you showing how he's different than Serpentins because of Serpentins being worthy of redemption, and him just not being the guy to redeem himself. He would also be different than Serpentins because of him actually being good with mad scientist things, and him also actually helping the Hasbin Hotel crew with his mad scientist inventions. Him also actually being evil but trying to cover it up, and him also being a lot more violent than your usual guy from the Hasbin Hotel. With Charlie partially putting him at the hotel because of him reminding her of Serpentins and her being sad about Serpentins' death, but after her finding out Serpentins is still alive in heaven, her finding out him being nothing like Serpentins. There would be lots of devils and demons and at the hotel willing to fight against the exterminations not being at the hotel to redeem themselves, but then Charlie, he would say, hey, you are here to fight against and the exterminations just in case it happens again, but it would be good you being able to get into heaven and getting out of the hellhole that is hell. You also showing that partially why Sarah is doing this is because he used to be friends with Lucifer, but then he finding out how he's still being friends with Lucifer and it being good her being friends with Lucifer after this, and trying her needing to make up for it because of her used to being friends with Lucifer. With Charlie finding out that she is the daughter of both of her parents, her taking from both sides of her parents, and it's good her being the daughter of both of her parents, and her being part of both sides of her heritage. It's even if her being a kid of divorced parents. Angel's sister and Molly would be good to Serpentins, and Serpentins finding out that Angel Dust and his sister have a good relationship because of her, and Charlie's parents getting back together. And with Angel Dust's sister wanting to see Angel Dust again in heaven. Us and the V's would try to do a deal with Lucifer, but Lucifer would say no to it, and that's also why him going demon mode, and for him going against the V's. Is and Alistair. With Charlie even finding out her having found Angel in here is because of how her being able to grow angel wings. After Charlie's hotel gets approved and her stopping the V's, is the other overlords of hell will agree to make her the new Queen of Hell because of her being the daughter of the original Queen of Hell, and because of the people in Hell wanting her to become the new Queen of Hell. With Charlie working together with Baggy to run the hotel and to be the new Queen of Hell, and Charlie doing it so there being order in Hell, so it not being as chaotic because of there being no leadership in Hell, because of her mother not being the Queen of Hell at the time. Then Vox would try to make Charlie look bad by saying that they barely won the fight against Adam, and that they didn't mean to kill Adam, and that Charlie saying them not wanting to kill Adam because as of what Heaven would do, but either way it being good, and Adam being dead, and them stopping the exterminations. And they're managing to win it all because of Lucifer, and that they did try to start a war with Heaven, but it was because of Adam killing Serpentins is why Charlie getting angry. Vox should be using mind control and social media to try to convince the people of Hell, while also trying to convince them of their own free will to go against Heaven, and because of all the terrible things Heaven has done to them over the years with exterminations killing them. But Charlie would try to get the sinners to redeem themselves, and here also showing them Heaven reconsidering their stance on Hell so they wouldn't go to war. And here proving that Vox is crazy because of her proving him mind controlling them. Angel Dust would blurt out the reason why Vox hates Alistair is because he used to have a thing with him, which is getting in the way of his thing with Valentino. With Ivy is finding out Vox is going crazy and then going against him. Vox should try and mind control Angel Dust into going against Charlie, also trying to kill his brother. I guys should try to save Angel Dust. Then Vox should hook himself up to the wires to give himself more power and threaten Angel Dust's loved ones. Broadcast it on the news. Our Cherry Bomb flashes back to when Serpentins was in Hell, and Vox should try to take over Hell by getting power from the people seeing his technology, There's a giant robot animal lifting him in the sky, in a satanic cult-like state, and using the security system of his tower. But then the whole hotel gang would fight against him and win because of Charlie's demon mode. After the angels sing this in heaven, and they'd be okay with the hotel. With even the other V's joining in the fight against Vox because of him going crazy. And after Angel Dust dies a selfless death, him ending up in heaven with his sister Molly, and his brother staying in hell, all because of things being fixed up with him and him, Team and I and Charlie. I'm also finding out then giving Adam the free pass for nothing. Help Heaven find out that Serpentance does deserve to be in heaven with Angel Dust. It would look like that Jack's the villain because of him hiding the way out, but it turns out Jack's not being the villain because of him not wanting them to die when them getting out. And it would only be there because of him being a hallucination by Loot. That because they can be redeemed into heaven, they won't need the exterminations anymore, so it bringing an end to the exterminations is for good by showing that heaven doesn't want to hurt them anymore. The demons should find out that it's good them killing angels because them having more devils in their wings, and so them needing to approve Charlie's hotels and them having more angels in heaven. Because of his right, Loot would be with Charlie at the end of the trailer we saw. With Charlie making it obvious to the sinners is that they can sin in hell if they want, but them having the choice for them sin. Then the sinners would want to redeem themselves in the end because of Charlie being a better ruler than Vox, and the other Hell Lords, Lucifer, and Lilith. Some of them would think they didn't deserve it, but then them knowing that they don't deserve to be treated like this because of Charlie, and them being able to redeem themselves because it's better than them never redeeming themselves. Zubo hating that she's not able to have sex with Gango, and her just being a lot better at hiding it than Gango. So Agatha's mother treating her badly and her missing her horses, as Pomni would try to get her to feel better because of her being an accountant that ended up in the Midget Circus. And because of Pomni being similar to Jax's friend Ribbit, that attracted right Jax caring about Pomni. With them finding out that Jax almost attracted. And Pomni and Agatha still caring about each other and then showing how much they care about each other. And Pomni just saying to Agatha, you didn't let him down. Jax was already suffering and you did help him. If you didn't help him, he might have already attracted by now. But it is because of her caring about people is why they lasted this long, but her showing that she should be more open with people. It also turned out the mannequin watching Agatha was the same mannequin at the other times, and him going against Kane because of him knowing that they're not real like Kane. It also been good with Agatha being a caring person because it's how they lasted this long. With Pomni trying to fix things up with Jax because of them caring about him, they do care if he is attracted or not. And because they will always be there for him, and it is something that they care enough for him not to attract the next day, and them even throwing a funeral for him if it happened because of them caring about him, and them just wanting to make sure him being okay. Wanting to be there for Jax, and her just not wanting anyone to attract like Jax. And because of her interacting with Kinger, her and Pomni, he would find out Kinger is the one who created the game, and then getting him into the darkness with the other characters, so him being able to get them out of the game. Zubo would like her own body because, as of Gango, and Zubo also telling Gango her caring about Gango because of Gango reminding her of herself. So Agatha let Gango down gently because of her not feeling the same way about Gango. Gango finding out Zubo being in love with her and her ending up with Zubo. With Agatha ending up with Jax. Agatha also saying to Jax, when I said you were going to corrupt Pomni, I mean you making it into a picture like you. And it turning out that they have more power in the circus than King Latan. King would distract and it doing some terrible things to the game, but King managing to reason with him and him also using his tech skills, and also them using their memories to bring back the attraction characters. And Pomni showing King he is real because of him having emotions and caring about them, and him wanting to make sure they didn't attract. So King would let them go, them getting into the real world, and while it would be sad them parting with each other, it actually being happy because of them uniting in the real world. But the gaslighting district, them trying to survive in the world, but then them finding out how them restoring death, which would cause them to die, but would stop the world from being a post-apocalyptic wasteland. The gangster zombie's mob boss family would have been killed, which is when his family took him in. Butthead was cooked into a butthead, and while him being crazy, him being loyal to his family because of them taking him in the end. While the main character's dad would have had dreams of being a chef, but then him trying to make it come true with his restaurant, but then him needing to take care of his family. So him doing it so that being able to survive. With him also using his self skills to defend them against the other monsters. The main character would make sure her family is good, saving the world, her making a bubble powder pair, and her also making sure her doing a good job with her barber. Because of her making sure her family survives. Which is why the restaurant would do so well after them dying and then going to heaven afterwards because of them saving the world. With this being how her and her family making a name for themselves. With her managing to do it because of her family and then finding out that the physical embodiment of death was killed in a satanic ritual, so them managing to resurrect death by using death was to restore death to the world, and the soul actually showing why you need death in the world. So you not being stuck in a living death, and for life to mean something, it needs death. Then for Knights of Guinevere, it turned out the original main Gwen, and that was busted, doesn't want to be fixed because that would undo her personality, and she doesn't want to be tortured by the princess anymore. She wants to keep her original personality and be her own person. Ray and Frankie would convince her that they're not fixing her personality, they're just fixing her body, and them only partially doing it. And so her being able to do her own self from it, but her still not being in pain anymore. With Oval still being alive, I've incarnated Nick Frozen, and with him dying in the end, and with his daughter, after him being let out by his daughter, and the Gwen taking over the park planet, and him making sure it being good for everyone, and making sure them focusing on the people, not just as on the park. And that Oval and Olivia used to rule over a planet, but then it went downhill because of Oval, so they started again here, which scarred Olivia for life because of her mommy dying in it. It's why her treating Gwen badly, but her being over it now, so that's why her wanting to fix Gwen, and because that Gwen is the only one that actually had emotions. And with her actually learning her lesson in the end, and with her helping Ray and Frankie find a cure for Brewlog. With the other Gwens working together with Ray and Frankie, which would help her find out how bad she is when they use the hive mind to get rid of the other Gwens after them. And Wendigo, because of it being one of Marvel's most iconic monsters from the original monsters. With it being one of the monsters spreading and infecting the heroes, with you using Super Wendigos and control of their powers and spreading it throughout everyone in both multiverses. And the other monsters in the story, like Dracula and Frankenstein from both Marvel and DC, and monsters similar to him in both Marvel and DC, like the Phantom of the Opera. With you using it as the universal monsters, but you could also use it for them going against the actual universal monsters. It also serves a purpose in the story to show why they need to stop them and why they can't let this happen in their world. But then, the monster would turn them into monsters, in a last effort to try to mind control them, but then they would defeat the monsters is by using them being turned into monsters, becoming monsters now, trying to take over the world. But then the other heroes, they would be able to defeat them in the end by killing them, but then they're managing to bring them back to life, and managing to cure them. And you're also doing it to show how similar the teams are to each other, but you're also showing how similar yet different each company is from each other, by showing how different yet similar both Draculas are. And so those are Marvel's Dracula because of him being another one of the most iconic monsters from Marvel, and because of the Wendigo being similar to a combination of a Yeti and a vampire. And because the Haunted Commandos and the Midnight Suns already go after Dracula all the time, it would be good for the Creature Commandos and Justice Dark to go up against DC's Dracula. I'm telling people's blood to German vampires and then spreading a zombie virus, so they can roll them. You could also use it for them fighting against magical villains in general here, and you could even use it for them fighting against the Fear and Hell Lords, it's from the Marvel dimension, and them also fighting against the demons and devils from the DC dimensions. Michael Morbius, the living vampire, could be a part of the Midnight Suns, and in helping them to defeat Dracula. And you would also be a part of the Creature Commandos and the Legion of Monsters. Because since him being a vampire that's created through science, him being an outcast to the other vampires. And Enchantress would also be there to try to get Thor to fall in love with her, and to go against them as a magical supervillain. And I would go with the Avengers, the Earth's Heroes as version of her. Combined with the Superhero Squad version of her, with her trying to get Thor to fall in love with her, and her hating Jane Foster. You would also have Satan, Damon Hellstrom, and Satana as Baba. Umar, who is Dormammu's sister, and Dormammu, who is the arch nemesis of Doctor Strange and the Defenders. He is the ruler of the Dark Dimension, and you can make it that it being a part of the Dark Multiverse as with the Shri here in the Antimatter universe. And he is a godlike supervillain. He is different from the other godlike supervillains because he has never been defeated. You would also have the Hell Lord that is in charge of Limbo, and his daughter. And Nergal and Nibiru. Nergal is the demon that turned John Constantine, and Nibiru is the demon that turned Blue Devil into Blue Devil. And you can become a good person because of him working under John Constantine, and who would be in charge of the House of Mystery, and it would still have its connection to the Dreaming, same thing with Zatanna and Abel, but with the House of Secrets in the Dreaming. And Elvira would be with the third house, and the same thing there. And with the new house for the Night Tales event, it would have the Tales from the Crypt Keeper, and the Old Witch, and the Vault Keeper, and all of them still having the relationship to Dream of the Endless. With them doing what Dream said, and them still being in the Dream Dimension, but them still doing what John Constantine says if it involving the House of Mystery. And Crypty would be a combination of the later parts of the cartoon version of Tales from the Crypt Keeper, the later parts of the cartoon, and the live-action version of him, and from live-action Tales from the Crypt itself, combined with the comic book version of him, both versions of him, and both versions of the comic book version and of the Vault Keeper and the Old Witch would be combined with their versions, and in the cartoon show version of Tales from the Crypt Keeper. Simigawa and Cthulhu is because all the crafting horrors of their universes. Marvel's Lady Death would meet up with Death of the Endless. Dream of the Endless would meet up with Nightmare. And Mephisto would meet up with Neon because both of them being the devils of their companies. Then they would fight against the Halloween spirits of both DC and Marvel. Now Marvel's Halloween spirit, Sam Hain, would turn people into their costumes to fight against the heroes, and you would also get the actual Jack-O-Lantern, Green Goblin, and Ghost to fight against the other heroes. And you making Marvel's Sam Hain different than DC's Halloween spirit because of him being a human and who is the spirit of Halloween, and with him being more ancient and then him doing things in a more ancient way and him being more serious in general. Him just wanting him to take over the world in general and to go against the heroes, so they're not stopping him from taking over the world, and with him just as doing Halloween because of it being a holiday for evil and monsters. When really Halloween is a time to face your fears. And you dealing with the horrors of monsters and mythical creatures prepares you for the real life horrors. Then with DC's Halloween spirit, and him bringing things to life to fight against them, and him wanting to make Halloween last forever. And him wanting to make everyone scared so him being able to feed on their fear. And with him also hating the other holidays and wanting to take over the other holidays. Him also going against Christmas because it being the only holiday that people like more than Halloween. How you would make DC's Halloween spirit different is him actually being what Halloween is all about. Him being more of a party guy, him liking to have fun, and him liking the modern age more. He would possess Blue Devil, so him looking like the Blue Devil from a Halloween cover, but when him being out of Blue Devil, him having his ghost look over his skeleton look, and with a pumpkin head. With Marvel's Sam Hain being in here because of him coming back every few years, and with him summoning DC's Halloween spirit to help him fight against the other heroes. And him doing the ritual to summon DC's Halloween spirit. DC's Halloween spirit is more of a monster who is the Halloween spirit. You would make it him being good when him being in his pumpkin head form, but when him being out of it, and him going power mad and him becoming evil. Him also hating someone trying to steal his holiday because of it being his holiday. And he would be willing to work together with other heroes as if something is going against Halloween. And also always be people trying to get rid of the Halloween spirit so they can be the spirit of Halloween, which would do terrible things to the holiday, which is why the hero is stopping it from happening. It would make it that the reason why DC's Halloween spirit is working together with Marvel's Sam Hain is because Sam Hain let the DC Halloween spirit out of his pumpkin head. So then the DC and Marvel hero has gone back into his pumpkin head, and then because of Sam Hain betraying the DC Halloween spirit so he can take over DC's Halloween too, the DC Halloween spirit going against Sam Hain. And him taking over both Halloweens from both multiverses. Until the crossover ends. It should stop a bunch of things from coming to life and there being monsters everywhere at Halloween. With the Teen Titans even doing him another body just to make sure him not going evil, and also having some help from the dreaming. You'd also have Marvel's supervillain Jack-O-Lantern fight against DC's superhero Jack-O-Lantern. See who is the true Jack-O-Lantern and stop either of them from becoming the Halloween spirit. You'd also have Slides helping them to fight against them, and so he can also fight against his arch nemesis, the Lord Pumpkin. You're also making it him taking back his kingdom and still being a gangster on Earth, and him not killing the Ghost family, him just leaving it over time. And with Batman managing to solve the mystery with the Sherlock Holmes of both Marvel and DC, you can also have this version of Jack the Ripper crossover with other real-life murderers like Mike the Spike. You can see into the other parts of the multiverse of how DC and Marvel multiverses are combined with each other, and also seeing it with a monster way, specifically with it being a bunch of their horror multiverses, and the particularly dark ones being mixed together and being combined with each other. Like the Gotham by Gaslight universe would still be an alternate universe, but it's still taking place in a different time in the main universe by the ancestors of those people. They have the same immortal people who would be alive from both companies is at that time, and with it still having some of the same effects from both companies is at that time. Like Dormammu having something to do with the killings of Jack the Ripper, and it being the same Jack the Ripper from Batman Gotham by Gaslight. You can also do the zombie virus similar to DC Disease and Marvel Zombies, so I was getting a good version of Marvel Zombies, and so you're going full throttle with the crossover with the already good DC Deceased. And you're also doing the Amalgam Zombies part of the crossover. And the Gotham by Gaslight version of Batman being the same version of Batman from the Batman and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde story, and for Batman the Doom that came to Gotham, and with the Lovecraftian horror in it. With them stopping the Lovecraftian horror during that time, but then the main DC heroes would need to stop it in the modern day. You're also doing the Batman Holy Terror storyline, the Catwoman Batwoman storyline, DC vs. Vampires, Night Terrors, Tales from the Dark Side, and Sonic Doomsday coming out of hell. This game is via Zatanna and John Constantine, with their romance and them having a happy ending in the end. With the cartoon show version of them, and the Crypty being a live action version of him combined with the original part of the cartoon version of him, combined with the later parts of the cartoon version of him. His fire wouldn't work on Ghost Rider because of Ghost Rider already having Hellfire, and Ghost Rider's Hellfire wouldn't work on Etrigan, and because of him being already from Hell. But the Ghost Rider would understand Etrigan and know him being a good person in the end, so them going to get revenge ends on the ones who did this to them, and killing supervillains together, them seeking vengeance, and so them burning people alive together. And shouting the Witch Boy, and you making it that their Morgan Le Fay's is from DC's Kids is with Moira Drew, her son, and Moira Drew being Clarence's best friend, and Claren and Child being Lords of Chaos. Marvel's Morgan Le Fay being different in interacting with DC's Morgan Le Fay because that one has a son. Inspector the Phantom Stranger and Dr. Fate, and the rest of the Justice League Dark crossing over the Midnight Suns, because they're both the magic superhero teams of their universes. Also, Bloodstone would interact with John Constantine, Damien Hellstrom and Zatanna Hellstrom would interact with Zatanna over them having a magical parents, or Zatanna had good parents, or their parents were the devil. And Bling, Ghost Rider, and Nightcrawler would interact with Animal Man, and Blue Devil and Kid Devil. Kid Devil and Nightcrawler have been said to be similar, so this would be good for showing how they're different than each other. It would also be good showing how Kid Devil is different than Blue Devil. The Spectre and the Phantom Stranger would act more godlike in the situation, while Dr. Fate and Dr. Strange would act more human in the situation. Man-Thing is a monster character in general, while Swamp-Thing is a magic superhero in general. You also having the Spectre in there interacting with Doctor Strange and the Living Tribunal, and Dr. Fate there with the Phantom Stranger. And going with the Living Tribunal, but the other guys will go against how he does things. The Spectre is the physical embodiment of God's wrath, and the Living Tribunal works for the one above all, Marvel's version of God, to keep the balance between good and evil, while the Spectre seeks vengeance on the crime-ridden. They did a good job in the original crossover, so them being good in this crossover, with you also showing the connections to the DC Lords of Chaos and Order. And the Spectre and Living Tribunal will be combined in this Amalgam universe, and Doctor Strange and Dr. Fate will be combined in this crossover. Use them having a part in fighting against the other giant monsters of the Marvel and DC universe, with them going to war with each other. With them being able to convince the giant monsters is because of them being monsters themselves, and them being perfect to fight against them because of them being monsters themselves. With Kid Kaiju personally creating monsters to help them to fight against the other giant monsters and to go against some of the DC giant monsters. It also having the most iconic magic and horror teams of both companies, the Howling Commandos and the Creature Commandos, the Midnight Suns, and the Justice League Dark for both DC and Marvel. You would use every giant monster for both companies, but some would have a bigger role than the other ones. The ones that are actually in superheroes roles galleries and superheroes have something to do with, and their own universe set as them being the most powerful of the giant monsters, and also these giant monsters specifically being the leader of other giant monsters in their universe, like we think Film and Marvel. And Titan and DC would be the main giant monsters. It being like a Godzilla vs King Kong in the Monsterverse, but with DC and Marvel. Oh, so it being an upgraded version of that, because if you having superheroes in there too, and you being able to recapture the awesomeness of both it originally happened and it happening in the modern age in the Monsterverse. You're also showing that the Howling Commandos having a relationship with the Midnight Suns, and that the Howling Commandos are similar yet different to the Creature Commandos. And that the Creature Commandos are similar to the Justice League Dark because of them both being supernatural teams, but the Justice League Dark and Midnight Suns and the Magic superhero teams specifically are just plain superhero teams, while the Creature Commandos and the Howling Commandos are monster superhero team specifically, and them working for the government specifically. And with them also using the actual monster truck, free from the Creature Commandos, Man-Thing would interact with Swamp-Thing, and with Man-Thing not talking and acting more like a monster, with Swamp-Thing acting more like a human and him actually being able to talking, because of it Man-Thing being able to talk and acting more human-like again. That's good the heroes being here because of them actually being able to do something in their universes. How Man-Thing is a horror character is because of him being a monster character in general, but how Swamp-Thing is a horror character is him being a supernatural character in general. Because of his connections to Swamp-Thing's other characters, him being a good character in the comic book, and it is good him being a good person in the comic books. Is good because of him using both magic and science to go against Swamp-Thing, and him also doing terrible things over the years, while Swamp-Thing is more of a good person than him, and because of Swamp-Thing being in love with Anton King's niece, Abigail on King, and Abigail on King having her connection to the Watt. Anton King doing all this because of him wanting immortality, and him being jealous of Swamp-Thing because of him already having immortality, but Swamp-Thing just wanting to be human again, and can't let Anton King have it, else him using it to go against the planet. You could also do Anton King being the reason why the Phonic Man is here, and the Phonic Man being in Swamp-Thing's Rose Gallery. The Howling Commandos did come before the Creature Commandos, but the Creature Commandos were the monster superhero team in first before the Howling Commandos did it later. And you would do their Frankenstein was made when they put back together a soldier from parts from the original Frankenstein, and you're also doing Frankenstein with the bride in Frankenstein. And you would do young Frankenstein as their son, and you also are doing them fighting against the villains like Zorn. The difference between the Howling Commandos and the Creature Commandos is because the Howling Commandos are just a superhero team for SEAL specifically, but it being made out of monsters. The Creature Commandos really plays up them being a monster superhero team for the government, but it not being for the best government, and it being for as something that's similar to SEALed. Because of that, government dealing with humans in general, not just as supernatural threats. And SEALed being a good superhero government, the Howling Commando is just working for SEALed in secret because the world would hate that SEALed is working together with monsters, and the Creature Commandos is working for SAID in secret because of SAID not being the best as superhero government. But the Creature Commandos are actually loyal to SAID because SAID is the reason why them being there today. I actually like that James Gunn's Creature Commandos focuses on the Creature Commandos as from them being a monster superhero team working for the government and like in the comic books, and not just a Suicide Squad but with monsters. We already have the Suicide Squad, and they're already going to be the main characters of the DCU, so it is good getting a comic book accurate Creature Commandos with the team in general instead of with just the members. You could have the creature from the Black Lagoon monster from the Howling Commandos interact with Nia Mazersky and her dad, the original creature from the Black Lagoon monster from the Creature Commandos, and Dr. Phosphorus and the Corrosive Man. James Gunn might have did some alternate versions of the Creature Commandos in his series, but it is good and it's a good alternate take on the Creature Commandos, and it is good that he did the idea of the team the same, and it is also good that some of these guys are better than the comic book versions of them. And the Creature Commandos show is not woke. It actually does a good job of dealing with the diversity and bigotry by actually showing the horrors of bigotry and why it's bad. They're not being a bigot to the other way, and they're actually showing that the characters is actually right to stand up for themselves here. And if you want them acting like the Suicide Squad, they already did and some random people dying there and them coming together through the team because of them being random people and them starting to care about each other. So that is a good way of them interacting like the Suicide Squad, and it is good them getting the good things from the Suicide Squad. And you could also make it that Amanda Waller gets outed and she's still doing the Suicide Squad just with non-human and villains, and with her also getting in trouble for even doing it to non-human characters. Have a relationship with the Justice League Dark because of them knowing each other, because of them both being supernatural teams. Just the Justice League Dark is a magic superhero team made of the supernatural members of the Justice League, and the Creature Commandos are a monster team that deal with supernatural threats. Because of them both being around since World War II, and because of them knowing what it feels like to be treated differently just because of you being a monster. Then also having Rick Flag Sr. and Rick Flag Jr. and Rick Flag's mommy. And Rick Flag would be with the Suicide Squad, and the Creature Commandos helping the Howling Commandos to fight against them. And Rick Flag Sr. would be with Rick Flag Jr. with his mommy. The Creature Commandos would be working for SAID here, not Amanda Waller, and you'd point out how similar SEALed and SAID are, but you'd also point out how different they are from each other. With SEALed being the best superhero government, and it being with superheroes in general, and them actually working together with superheroes, and SAID being a corrupt superhero government, and with them doing with meta-humans in general, and with also them being created by a supervillain. That's godlike. And you would also show the connections to other Golden Age superheroes. With the Howling Commandos, they would show the connection to the Golden Age 7, namely the original Human Torch, the Wizard, and Captain America. With the Creature Commandos, you would show their connections to the Freedom Fighters, the Justice Society, the Haunted Tank, and the Seven Soldiers of Victory. And you would also have the Sentinels of Magic in there. Also do that in the end, the Creature Commandos should be free from SAID, and them still doing the superhero thing, but them getting their happy endings in the end, and them not doing what Amanda Waller says anymore, and SAID just being connected to Amanda Waller, not it being a part of Amanda Waller. And the Howling Commandos still being a part of SEALed, them staying a part of SEALed, and them knowing SEALed being the better one out of them, and them being glad they're working together with a good superhero government like SEALed. We would also have the Spirits of Vengeance in there for the Howling Commandos. For the Howling Commandos, I would combine the Superhero Squad version with the alternate Spider-Man version of them. And for the creature cameos, I would combine the modern version of them with the original version of them, with the new 2 version of them, with the rebirth version of them, with the Drac Pack version of them, with the DC Nixon version of them, with the DC Showcase version of them, with the Batman the Brave and the Bold version of them, with the DCU version of them. To create the ultimate version of them and to make sure you're doing the best possible versions of both teams.
Anything like that.
I don't give a hoot if he's metal. He's forever a brother of every man in easy company. Cheers to the Tin Man.
Remarkable work, especially for 1943.
Are there Nazis nearby?
You're awful.
Nina, we fought Nazis together.
Oh, I'm sorry. We were just pretend.
Your those have Invincible, and Spine working together to fight against Hellboy, and the Mask, with the Judge Dredd convincing them all to work together to kill the supervillains. The Tick would just convince them to just stop the supervillains. Witchblade would work together with Vampirella to fight against Evil Annie and Lady Death, because them being sexy anti-heroes against a sexy supervillain. And Lady Death and Evil Annie would also fight against the hack and slash main characters, because it being perfect, because in their comic book they always such serial killers as supervillains. With you doing the Shadow, the Phantom, the Green Hornet, and the Black Bat, it being good, them inspiring Batman, and it being good, there being actual superheroes in the modern day with the pulp heroes. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would be fanboying over them, and the Rat King would be mind controlling Vermin to fight against the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Spider-Man, with them convincing Vermin to fight against the mind control and fight against the Rat King, with Vermin being able to control Tank into a monster. And because of you having the hack and slash main characters, you can use them to fight against all of the actual serial killers from horror movies, because it being perfect for them, because they already go up against serial killers, now they're going up against the most iconic serial killers. With them working together with the horror movie hero Ash Williams. You've been able to do this because of Warner Bros. Owning a bunch of them. You're also having all the horror movie monsters and all the serial killer horror movie villains in there. With you doing the horror movie hero defeating them all, just so even in a horror movie it's good there being a happy ending, and so the hero defeating the villain in the end, even in a horror movie. But the serial killers that would get the biggest role in it, main serial killers would be Chucky, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Ghostface, the girl from the Ringer, Candyman, Leatherface, Pinhead, Norman Bates, both Pennywises, the Dancing Clowns, and Art the Clown, the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Jaws, that at serial killer who turned out to be a boy, and all street serial killers from Fear Street. This way, you paying tribute to serial killers in general, not just as the modern ones or the iconic ones. You paying tribute to that part of horror in general. And it would also be a good threat because of them being hard to kill, but then, and also them having a hard time fighting against them. But then, so them finding a seat, then Voorhees would try and get them there. But because of them killing Voorhees in the dream world and in the real world is why him staying dead. And because of them, and because a bunch of them are already dead, they're not holding back against them, which let them actually kill them. And that's already wanting to see Batman and Superman fight against them, because Batman deals with serial killers all the time, and because of them being superheroes, them actually being able to do something about these serial killers, and so it would be good for their definitive death and them freeing other people from them, and because of them being superheroes, not usual people, so it is good them actually being able to end the threat, because that's what superheroes are for, to help you. So using the idea of the hero or paying tribute to horror. Godzilla even saving the Hulk's life, and Hulk even helping to heal Godzilla. Then it would turn out them going Sentinels at Godzilla, but then Magneto would reprogram the Sentinels to go against humans instead. And Sunspot would have convinced the X-Men to work together with the Chinese military to go against Godzilla, but then they found out the Chinese military was using Godzilla to do robots to go against mutants, and that they were also using the robots to go against Godzilla. And Godzilla was trying to stop the Chinese military from doing it because it going against the natural order of things. because of mutants and X-Men being a part of the natural order of these multiverses. So the X-Men attacking the robots together with their powers, then combining it into a giant and robot with their powers by using an Adaptoid and a Mazo. And them also copying the other giant monsters and robots with it. The Nightmare would use a Dreamstone and the Nightmare Stone to bring people's nightmares to life, and him also spreading hordes throughout the world. And him trying to trap people in their nightmares, but then the heroes getting free from it, and because of Dream, him being able to take back the Dreamstone and going against Nightmare. They're managing to wake everyone up from the nightmares and managing to get rid of the nightmares that came into real life. Then the superheroes would cure the infected civilians and them getting rid of the Joker and fear gas and all the other chemicals. They would also destroy the Dreamstone and the Nightmare Stone and use Dream taking back his power from it and to send the monsters back to their own dimension. And everyone else back in their dimensions after the superheroes already defeated the supervillains. Titan would be protecting Lois Lane and Harley Quinn, and they would be convincing him to go against the other giant monsters. Titan would be a good guy, even though him being a monkey and him being good to Superman because of Superman being good to him so many times before. We would also see that Kenwood doesn't know what he is, but he desires to be human, and in him just doing these things because of him not knowing what he is, and him going against giant monsters because of him wanting to, and then them using him to blow up Paradise Island by dropping him like a nuclear bomb on it. Do you think it could be a story without having it being good and first showing the villains doing to the heroes, you fussing Kenwood out more? And you doing a good job with him being a giant monster with Titan, and you doing Titan as a good character, and a good similar Superman character. You're also doing the King Kong and Godzilla's King Kong having his robot arm with weapons, and him having his axe and Godzilla having his weapons and robot parts too. With you doing Godzilla winning the first fight between them like in the second movie, but then King Kong fighting against Godzilla and him winning the second fight like in the original movie when they cross over each other. Sandman combined with Electro, Hydro Man, and Molten Man, and with the clay faces to fight against other giant monsters, and the Spider-Man villains working together with the Rogues to fight against other giant monsters. So you having every part of horror in there with the serial killers, the giant monsters, and the universal monsters. You're having both metaphorical monsters and literal monsters. So it being the actual ultimate media crossover, it's being more horror-centric for it being perfect for a Halloween theme. For Tom and Jerry, it would be good if you do Tom and Jerry so with Tom and Jerry talking and with Robin and her Baba. Because since we've seen so many different versions of Tom and Jerry, it'd be good in them being more original of them doing the Tom and Jerry movie, and it would be good them having some owners actually care about them. This would be a good plotline for the Tom and Jerry show in general on its own, since the Tom and Jerry movie is different from the other parts of Tom and Jerry. Plus, it would be good Tom and Jerry actually being friends with each other and them actually caring about each other. And it would also be good if you doing a Tom and Jerry crossover show, because if Scooby-Doo gets 2 crossover shows, it would be good Tom and Jerry being able to do it too. Tom and Jerry does crossovers too. And it would also be good seeing some Tom and Jerry crossovers. The Tom and Jerry crossover movies are good, and it would be good seeing Tom and Jerry crossover other parts of Hanna-Barbera, since Tom and Jerry is also not an iconic part of Hanna-Barbera. With you just making it the guys they cross over with is just the different owners in each episode. And Scooby-Doo has a lot of good cartoon shows before, but I think they need to do another good cartoon show with Scooby-Doo, just so us not getting any other terrible Scooby-Doo cartoon shows like Velma. You should just do Scooby-Doo Plain Simple, because Scooby-Doo Plain Simple is already good for a show. And if you really want to do something different with Scooby-Doo, it already being different enough and it being good, you doing the original Scooby-Doo formula, but with the monsters being real. And it'd also be good you doing an R-rated Scooby-Doo show, with them being in a post-apocalyptic monster world, the monsters being real, them dealing with the monsters being serial killers, because of it, them also solving real-life crimes. With it being a combination of how they did Scooby-Doo R-rated and Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, Scooby-Doo in the Cyber Chase, and Scooby Natural. So it being done right, you having a good R-rated Scooby-Doo show, not like Velma. And it would also be good you having an R-rated Monsters show. They're already trying to do an R-rated Monsters show, and the Monsters already had their own movie recently, so it being the perfect time to do it. And if Wednesday is an R-rated Addams Family show, then they can do an R-rated Monsters show. They can even start out in the Wednesday show, then you're doing an R-rated Monsters show afterwards. With Wednesday trying to hunt the Monsters family, but then her finding out that the Monsters are good people, because as of her having monster family members, is like the witch grandma and cousin Ed, and her seeing it with the Monsters and convincing her of it. And it would be good the R-rated Monsters crossing over with the R-rated Addams family, and you also showing how they're similar yet different to each other. With one of the families being a monster family and then being scary, and the other family being a human family but actually being scary. Scooby-Doo would be trying to solve the mystery of the monsters, but because of their MOA crossing over the Addams family, them knowing the monsters are real monsters but them being good people. Scooby-Doo would cross over Tom and Jerry because as it would be good them crossing over each other, and them also trying to solve the mystery of Beetlejuice, but then because of the deeds and finding out that Beetlejuice is a good guy. So how far Indian Mason has come because of them crossing over the big companies, just as long as they have equal amount of ownership over this crossover as the other big companies, them being okay with doing it. And it would be good for the big evil companies for a big fat answer to the fans by them doing it within the animations. Beetlejuice would also be a good head person to the monsters and then bring out his more sympathetic side. But then also Beetlejuice would have fun with the Addams family and go pranking people over Wednesday and Pugsley. As of the Beetlejuice 2 movie, you should also do a third Beetlejuice movie, because we already didn't think we were getting a second Beetlejuice movie, but then they did do it, so they need to do the third movie to do a third one in a trilogy, and to end the franchise, with it going out with a bang. And then they shouldn't do the second movie, so at least with the third movie, it just being good for the ending of the franchise, as in for the third one in the trilogy, and for you going full circle with it. And because of the second movie, and them should be doing the third movie, it would be the perfect time to do an R-rated reboot of the original Beetlejuice cartoon show. Because it's already better than the original and second movie, so it's deserving to come back more than the original movies. And it was already a creepy show for kids in the 80s and 90s, so imagine how good it would be, and the horror things it would be able to do with it in the modern day now. Because of kids being braver now because of them showing different things on TV since then. And Beetlejuice would also interact with Sabrina the Teenage Witch and Casper the Friendly Ghost, with Beetlejuice getting Casper and Sabrina to have fun, but them also bringing out the good side of Beetlejuice. It would also be good Sabrina crossing over with Casper because of Casper and Sabrina both being part of Archie comic books and Hanna-Barbera. And because of both Sabrina and Casper being friendly characters even though them being creatures. And it would be good the Ghost with the most meeting Casper the Friendly Ghost. And if Sabrina the Teenage Witch managed to get an R-rated horror reboot, and if Wednesday managed to become an R-rated Addams Family show, then you should do an R-rated Casper Scare prison show. With you just doing the horror and R-ratedness around Casper, like the original show, but it being with R-rated horror specifically. Because with the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina show, it doing the horror around Sabrina while Sabrina herself is still good, and so it being good, you doing the same thing with Casper. Casper himself still being friendly, while the things around him being scary. With you also having the most iconic Disney and Warner Bros. Characters like Mickey Mouse, Alice, and Bugs Bunny from the Looney Tunes crossing over with each other here, so it having those parts of animation and it also having those parts of those companies. I have a video coming up for how you can do that for Christmas and in general, so stay tuned for that. And keep watching my videos for that. I'll leave a link to them in the description down below. And some other videos that have something to do with it.